concludes all operations of the emergency alert system. All stations may now resume regular programming.
For expanding its sphere of influence on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy.
Okay, so this week we're going to continue looking into one of the more insidious aspects to their agenda, the social engineering and behavioral modification of the human race. We already know that technology has been weaponized against the populations of the world via things like social media manipulation, narrative, fake news, and news bias. But as you will find out in the other video coming out in a few days, this form of psychological manipulation is only one facet to their overall mission, and they have been doing this for a long time. It has permeated every aspect of modern civilization, and we are being manipulated at an unprecedented level. But for now, we are going to focus on one of the main avenues for manipulation and behavioral modification within the Fourth Industrial Revolution: digital ID. One of the main reasons for the continued use and even the acceleration of this tactic is because they are worried about what the masses will do when their technocratic system is installed. As Yuval Harari states, the useless class will be a big problem.
Powerful entities in the world, after thousands of years, during which humans were the rulers of the world, authority and power will shift away from humans to computers, and most humans will become economically useless and politically powerless. Already today, we are beginning to see the creation of a new class of humans, the useless class. Just as the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century created the new working class, the proletariat, so now the artificial intelligence revolution is beginning to create the useless class.
Now, one of my main videos regarding what this guy discusses, and him in general, was taken down off of YouTube, so you're gonna have to go to Alt Media to check that out. But it is definitely worth it. The main point is that when the World Economic Forum talks about stakeholders owning everything, this does not include the useless class, that's for sure. With mass unemployment and the end of the current financial system around the corner, they want us all under control. Now, according to the US military, the technological singularity will occur right around 2035. I'll put a link to this document in a comment below, but in a different video, we may come back and talk about this again. All of these agendas revolve around this notion, and is the main reason, besides the Club of Rome document, The Limits to Growth, as to why they're obsessed with the 2030 timeline. If you believe what they say in The Limits to Growth, which I am not sold on. But anyway, if you do, not only will modern civilization begin to collapse due to lack of resources, but the tech singularity will hit at the same time. Anyway, all of this is underpinned by the digital ID concept. The digital identity push under the Great Reset agenda risks enabling an authoritarian social credit system on a global scale, and it offers them the ability to manipulate behaviors on a massive global scale as well. When a sweeping solution to a hyper-generalized problem oversteps the boundaries of personal privacy and liberty, the solution poses a greater threat to the people than the problem it proposes to solve. As part of its Great Reset agenda to reshape the global economy, the World Economic Forum wants everyone on the planet to be linked with a digital ID, and I quote, "This digital identity determines what products, services, and information we can access, or conversely, what is closed off to us." A direct quote from the World Economic Forum. Now, doesn't that sound nice? No, it does not. And so, while digital identities show great promise towards improving the livelihoods of millions of people, they can also be used by authoritarian governments to profile and police citizen behavior under a social credit system. The idea behind digital identities is pretty simple enough. All the data collected from every online interaction you make with the private and public sectors goes into forming your digital identity. This data can include your personal search history, social media interactions, online profiles, device location, medical records, financial ledgers, legal documents, and more. As far as personal convenience goes, having a digital ID that consolidates everything into one place could be a godsend, in the way that you use your digital ID for a variety of goods and services wherever you go, and all that data can be secured on the blockchain. But like with any technology, trust comes from knowing how it's used and knowing who benefits the most from when people use it. With a few tweaks of the code, blockchain can be corrupted by authoritarians to build social credit enslavement systems. A quote from Trent Lipinski recently warned in the Cointelegraph. And I quote again, "If world governments legislate encryption technology for their own purposes and pervert consensus mechanisms for their own centralized enslavement systems, we will end up with digital currencies that can be used against the people of the world." And that is true. On the flip side, there are many ways of applying this tech for the good of humanity. However, I highly doubt the governments of the world will do that. For example, though, the World Economic Forum highlighted an app developed by Irish blockchain company Aid Tech, which helps people without official documents create personal legal identities. However, there is a big difference between identity and identification. Providing a piece of identification to someone who didn't have an official document to begin with is one thing. It is an entirely different matter when the concept is expanded to include connecting every person on the planet with a digital ID, one that keeps a tamper-proof record of their behavior. Identity encompasses everything that makes you unique, and your identity is what the World Economic Forum is really interested in. Step out of line in every social media interaction which you partake. Every penny you trade and every move you make can be used against you. According to a World Economic Forum report from 2018, and I quote, "Our identity is literally who we are, and as the digital technologies of the fourth industrial revolution advance, our identity is increasingly digital. By connecting your every online and offline interaction, the World Economic Forum envisions your digital identity being linked to," and I quote, "every click, comment, and share you make on social media, every financial transaction you record, your location and where you travel, what you buy and sell, your personal health data and medical records, the websites you visit, your participation in civic functions, examples like voting, taxes, benefits, etc., how much energy you consume, which will be tied to carbon credits for sure, but there are plenty other examples. Thus, your digital identity becomes an account of your social behavior, which can be policed." Now let me repeat a quote from earlier. This digital identity determines what products, services, and information we can access, or conversely, what is closed off to us. Can you see how bad that will be? What products, services, and information you can access, or conversely, what is closed off to us? That is a dystopian statement right there. In other words, there will be a class system where people are given access to privileged information, products, and/or services based on the data recorded in their digital identities. Now from there, the Internet of Bodies might trigger breakthroughs in medical knowledge, or it might enable a surveillance state of unprecedented intrusion and consequence. But what problem could possibly be so severe that its solution warrants cataloging every individual on the face of the earth in such a sweeping way? Well, according to the World Economic Forum, the problem to be solved is capitalism, as it relates to societal structures and the global economy. The all-encompassing Great Reset is their proposed solution, a means to an end where everyone's behavior is time-stamped and recorded on their digital identity. But if you thought that your digital identity was just an app on a smartphone, wait until you see how the World Economic Forum wants your digital identity to be connected to your physical body through the Internet of Bodies. Now, if you didn't know, the Internet of Bodies is an ecosystem consisting of an unprecedented number of sensors attached to, implanted within, or ingested into human bodies, and they are used to monitor, analyze, and even modify human bodies and behavior. This is from a 2020 World Economic Forum briefing on the Internet of Bodies. Check out what they have here. Now, I've already talked about this image, so I'm just going to move on. However, keep in mind that with the proposed Internet of Bodies, not only would your every societal behavior be recorded, but also everything you did in private. Again, are you starting to see how bad this is going to get? Sensors will detect when you go to the bathroom, where you sleep, your temperature, and even how fertile you are. It will all be connected to the Internet within the Internet of Bodies ecosystem. Now, who could possibly benefit from the massive consolidation of every intimate detail of your life? Well, authoritarian government officials, of course, and private corporations. They are turning you into a commodity. The Chinese Communist Party has taken the notion of the Internet of Bodies to create an Orwellian surveillance state that pegs the digital identities of its citizens to a social crediting system. I mean, they have a deadbeat debtor contact tracing app that alerts citizens with a warning whenever they come within 500 meters of someone who is in debt. And they did this to the DNA phenotyping of over 1 million Uyghurs sent to re-education camps. The CCP is a living example of some of the horrible ways in which this digital identity can be exploited, and exploited it will be. Now, if you take a look at the strict lockdown procedures taking place across the world, in some areas you aren't allowed to be out past curfew. You are not allowed to buy or sell certain products. You're not allowed to open your business, and you're being told to wear a mask even in your own home. If you had a digital identity like the World Economic Forum proposes, the authorities would know the moment you broke curfew, went somewhere they told you not to, opened your business after they said shut it down, or let your mask slip down when they told you to keep it up. As far as social engineering experiments go, when people know that their every move is being recorded, they will police themselves into conformity. Just knowing that they are being watched will cause people to change their behavior, and this makes the job of the technocrat even easier. When digital solutions are presented on a case-by-case basis for real-world problems, they need immediate attention. But when an all-encompassing solution to a vague, generalized problem like the global economy oversteps the boundaries of personal privacy and liberty, the solution constitutes a greater threat to the people than the problem itself proposes. The thing is, it's the same with all of their agendas. They have a duality to it. Digital identities could, in theory, help better the lives of everyone on the planet. However, should society's fate be mandated from the Davos elite? And do we trust them not to subvert it and use it against us? Because I do not. If the unelected elites get their way, you will most certainly own nothing. You will have no privacy, and your every move will be linked to your digital identity as you await confirmation of approval or denial in collecting your benefits under a citizen-centered welfare state. And you better do what you're told, because every action will be connected to your digital ID. Step out of line, and every social media interaction in which you partake, every penny you trade, and every move you make can be used against you. Once again, this is Helio Wave. If you like the content, like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video if you want to. If you're in a position to, consider subscribing on Locals or Subscribestar. Make sure to disobey those true fascistas and keep your eyes open, because there are millions and millions and millions of people who are being manipulated to accept complete subservience. But of course, I do hope you have a good night.